On this edition of Good Day DePaul, budget cuts at DePaul. A well-known teacher is not renewed, and a taste of summer finally comes to DePaul. I'm Shaden Gomez.
And I'm Stefania Rodriguez, and this is Good Day DePaul. DePaul continues to deal with its budget shortfall. The university says 6 of its 240 term faculty are not being renewed next year to reduce costs. One is a well-known teacher at DePaul, and as I found out, a lot of students are upset that she's not returning.
About 4 years ago, here in Lincoln Park, Erika Sanchez stood outside the Arts and Letters Hall to take a photo and announce on social media that she'd begin teaching at DePaul as a term faculty member and become the next Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz chair.
But now that's all changed. Sanchez recently learned that her contract for the next school year isn't being renewed. Some DePaul students are unhappy with this decision.
It was just really surprising to fire someone so successful who has made many students come, especially Latinx students, come to DePaul.
Latinx student group Mesa issued a statement on their Instagram addressing Sanchez's non-renewal, saying, quote, "It's a real struggle to feel like we truly belong here when we don't see ourselves reflected in the people who are meant to be educating us. It's unacceptable for DePaul to brag about their diversity while simultaneously making decisions like this. We refuse to let our professors' contract non-renewal slide without a fight. DePaul needs to know that we are angry, hurt, and disappointed, and that we demand a better, more inclusive institution. Together, as a united front, we will fight for justice and equity in academia." Sanchez is an award-winning author. Her work includes the New York Times best-selling book, I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter, which was adapted into a play and soon a Netflix feature film. Her Latina identity is reflected and explored in her writing, something that inspired students like Rosalinda Cano to enroll at DePaul.
One of the main emphasis of coming to DePaul was getting the opportunity to see someone like me in a position of high academia. I found myself connecting to Erika Sanchez's book, I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. I even auditioned for the movie coming up.
DePaul recently announced a series of spending cuts to reduce its budget shortfall. This included not renewing 6 out of 240 term faculty members. Sanchez turned to her Instagram to announce that she was one of those not being renewed. She wrote that she was notified a week in advance that she or another term faculty member from the department were getting cut because of budgetary constraints due to low enrollment. She went on to say that, quote, "I've put my heart into my teaching. I have consistently received excellent evaluations from my students, and I often hear that my classes have changed people in profound ways. Keep in mind that DePaul is trying to become a Hispanic-serving institution, and that I've been repeatedly asked to be the speaker at Latinx graduation this year, which is very LOL right now. Also, keep in mind that Latinx make up only 6% of DePaul's faculty. The student body is 23% Latinx. The city of Chicago is 28.8% Latinx. The math is bad." Sanchez said that, quote, "DePaul does not care about its students of color." Good Day DePaul reached out to the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, Guillermo Vázquez de Velasco, about the decision to not renew Sanchez's contract. In a joint statement with Carolina Stenberg, the chair of the Department of Latin American and Latino Studies, they said, quote, "This has been a challenging week for the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. In consultation with the Department of Latin American and Latino Studies, a difficult decision was made to discontinue a short-term faculty appointment starting next academic year. The short-term faculty appointment was an attempt to implement a growth strategy to increase enrollment. Change was necessary to make sure the program has the right components to ensure the continued success of this academic program that is deeply rooted in the university's mission. The university's current budgetary situation requires all departments to focus on their long-term needs, with the needs of our students remaining paramount. To that end, we remain committed to our Department of Latino and Latin American Studies and to welcoming a new full-time tenure track faculty member to the department in fall 2023. A great deal of thought and care went into this decision, and we are confident that students who pursue Latin American and Latino studies will continue to receive enriching, high-quality instruction going forward.
But for some students, the question still remains. Why was Erika Sanchez one of just 6 term faculty members who were not renewed? For those students, the reasons still are not clear. For Good Day DePaul, Stefania Rodriguez.
On April 13th, DePaul Public Safety says a student was attacked in the first floor bathroom of the Schmidt Academic Center on the Lincoln Park campus. The student was reportedly able to press the distress button and scare off the attacker. A short time later, Public Safety says the same offender attacked a student at the Sheffield garage. That student was also able to get away. A suspect in both cases is now in custody.
In another incident, Public Safety says a student was walking in the 1100 block of Montana in Lincoln Park. They say someone on a divvy bike rode up from behind and slapped the student and then left the area. No other details on the incident are available.
The Biden administration has approved the controversial oil exploration project in Alaska. Good Day DePaul's Natalie Host has details.
A new oil drilling project in Alaska has been approved by the Biden administration. Climate activists fought to stop this initiative called the Willow Master Development Plan. The project allows energy company ConocoPhillips to drill for oil in northern Alaska. The project is set to produce 180,000 barrels of oil a day for the next 30 years using 3 drilling pads. Opponents say this will affect Alaska's climate and wildlife, calling the project a carbon bomb. Petitions on change.org have amassed over 5 million signatures, citing risks to wildlife, climate pollution, and health risks to indigenous communities. Former Chicago Water Commissioner Frank Avila is among the concerned.
So this project, this Willow project, is that they're going to produce 260 million metric tons of heat-trapping gases over 30 years, okay? And it says, meanwhile, the world top scientist has published a survival guide for humanity that says we must cut global emission in half by 2030 to avoid the worst possible harm of the climate crisis. Building new oil and gas infrastructure like Willow will make it impossible to reach the goal. So how are we going to cut down all of this? We have to find other ways to provide energy. How do you get to the pads? What do you have to do to get to the pads? You have to what? Build a road, right? Build a road that would affect all the wildlife alongside each of the roads going to that pad. And they said the construction material comes in contact with a wild variety of sea mammals, including 7 species of endangered wildlife.
DePaul Jr. Zoe Matea is also concerned about wildlife and the environment, wondering if the project will be worth it in the end.
Humans have gone to very great lengths to better ourselves at the expense of literally our entire environment. And when it comes to taking drill holes to one of the only places that, well, a lot of the Arctic Circle has been touched by people trying to gain resources from them, but I feel like there comes a point where you have to ask yourself, is this worth it, or will this have very long-term irreversible damage? And at this point, with this particular issue and passing this project, it will cost us a lot of resources. While we gain some, we're going to lose even more, and we need to do our best to protect what we still have at this point, and there's not a lot of logic in continuing to do what we're about to go do.
Supporters of the project include most elected officials in Alaska, including Congresswoman Mary Peltola and Senators Lisa Murkowski and Daniel Sullivan. They all spoke about the economic benefits, the addition of jobs, and more.
The majority of Alaskans are in support of this. And like Senator Sullivan said earlier and Senator Murkowski, we have labor unions who are solidly in support of this. So I'm very proud to be here. I'm very proud to be an advocate for this.
As you mentioned, huge benefits, not just for Alaska, but for America.
But others say the problems outweigh the benefits.
Well, I think we have to find other methods, and right now, other methods of providing energy. Solar energy. Now that's going to take a little time. Do we have to have this project built now? Do we have to do the drilling now? Maybe not. Maybe not, because as I mentioned before, the profit that they had in 2022 was what? $18.7 billion. Huh? Rose to 18. I mean, this is a lot of money. I mean, and producing this amount of money there is for revenue purposes there. So I think we have to find other means of providing energy.
The choice is a difficult one, a project that will provide jobs and economic benefits for Alaska, yet also harm the environment and hurt the fight against global warming. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Natalie Host.
Coming up on Good Day DePaul, a rough weekend for the DePaul softball team.
That story and the rest of sports when we return.
I think we should split. Split up? Why? I want to meet new people. People who need me. Meet new people? You're my left kidney. You only need one of me, man. And you have two. There are plenty of people out there who are dying because they don't have one. Really? You'll be giving the gift of life. I could be a hero. Yeah. It's all win-win up here, buddy. Why don't you go and save a life, pal? You're doing the right thing.
Preston Zabrozik is here now with Good Day DePaul Sports. Preston?
Shadan, it was a rough weekend for DePaul softball team as they were swept in a 3-game series by Seton Hall. I was at the final game on Sunday at Ketchatora Field. Following a 15-minute rain delay, the action resumed at Ketchatora Stadium, where DePaul and Seton Hall finished a 3-game weekend series. For DePaul pitcher Brenna Smith, it wasn't her best outing as she gave up 7 earned runs in just 1 1/3 innings of pitching before being pulled, including giving up this grand slam to Seton Hall as they gained a 7-0 lead. Her ERA now sits at a 6.60 on the season following the start. But the Blue Demons offense didn't go away quietly. Nicole Sullivan had this infield single to get the offense going, along with the stolen base to get herself into scoring position. A bases-loaded walk got the Blue Demons their first run of the game, and sophomore Addison Talbot's single up the middle drove in 2 more runs as DePaul trimmed the lead to 7-3. The Blue Demons offense kept going, and thanks to an error made by the Pirates outfield, senior Grace Frazier's single dropped into left field, bringing in 2 more runs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And another bases-loaded walk trimmed what was once 7-0 lead for the Pirates, all the way to 7-6. But the Blue Demons' defensive mistakes allowed Seton Hall to regain the lead. Talbot dropped a routine fly ball into left field, which brought in 2 more runs, leading to a 4-run top of the 5th inning, as the Pirates took a commanding 11-6 lead. But DePaul's offense answered as Anna Wohlers led off a double into right center field, followed by third baseman Carly Alver's single, which drove in 3 runs to bring DePaul's 11-6 deficit to 11-9. As Katie Pierce entered in relief, she gave it all she could in the top of the 7th, but gave up 2 runs to the Pirates, giving them more insurance runs. DePaul tried all they could in the bottom of the 7th inning offensively, including this triple by Nicole Sullivan, which drove in 2 more runs for the Blue Demons, as they trailed 11-13. But making the final out of the game, third baseman Carly Alvers grounded out as the Seton Hall Pirates swept the Blue Demons at Ketchatora Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's always frustrating when you give up that many runs. I mean, our pitcher said it in the huddle that we need to be a little bit sharper, be a little bit better. So instead of balls going to the gap or the home run that was hit, that it goes to someone. So, I mean, if we put up 11 runs, we should be able to win a game. So, yeah, it's frustrating. But, I mean, I think the biggest thing, too, is we have a lot that we can build off from this game to keep moving into NIU this week and Villanova next weekend. I mean, we just have to go into NIU. I mean, I told them, I said, we're going to work on a lot of things on Tuesday just to keep us sharp and keep us moving in the right direction and get ready to attack that practice and work on some things that we might need to as we go into the Villanova series. I mean, it's non-conference and we want to win every game we can, but we also want to continue to get better each game.
It's been a difficult time for the DePaul women's basketball team, losing 7 players to the transfer portal, but they've also added some players. These include guard Shadell Sitter, who transferred from the University of Michigan. Sitter still has 2 years of eligibility left. DePaul also added 2 freshman recruits, guard Grace Cartenson from Nazareth Academy in the suburban LaGrange, and Shakira McCline from East St. Louis, Illinois. DePaul still has 6 open roster spots to fill before the season begins. In track and field, DePaul took first in 2 events at the Jim Freeman Invitational in Louisville. Alex Bernstein won the men's hammer, and Isabella Hilditch captured the 100-meter hurdles. Finally, in women's soccer, DePaul has named Rachel Pittman the new associate head coach. Pittman, a former DePaul player from England, joined the coaching staff in 2018. She was part of DePaul teams that went to back-to-back NCAA tournaments in 2013 and in 2014. And that's sports. Back to you, Shaden.
Thanks, Preston. Coming up, the sun finally shines on DePaul.
That story is next on Good Day DePaul.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links living organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the United States, 22 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you are someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com, home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life. MatchingDonors.com.
A major gift to DePaul. It comes from John and Kathy Schreiber. The Schreibers donated over $1.2 million for the Schreibers Catholic Future Teacher Leader Program and nearly $600,000 to the DePaul Migration Collaborative. The Schreibers' gifts help underserved and vulnerable populations.
Sunshine, beautiful weather, it finally came to Chicago. I went out to the Lincoln Park Quad to see how students were enjoying this amazing weather. Chicago hit the warmest weather in nearly 7 months, and for DePaul students, the Lincoln Park Quad was where to be. Playing music, laying in the sun, and playing ball were just some of the things people were doing. Many said the warm weather was a big boost.
The weather is lovely. It feels fantastic outside. It's like the end of that seasonal depression era. So yeah, no, it's great to just kind of relax and hang out here after class, and it's a great time.
Like all of last quarter, I was just like really sad all the time because it was so like ugly out, and I was sick all the time. And I feel like now, I just feel like revived. I don't know. It feels like I took like a really good nap, and I just woke up.
Ever since the sun came out, I'm just like feeling so much better than I have like in the last like month. I'm really feeling the dopamine. It's so good. The serotonin, I'm getting it all.
Some brought their schoolwork, but were easily distracted.
I brought out here today, but I didn't do that much of it, unfortunately, just because it's really nice, and I'd rather talk to my friends, but yeah, it's really nice to be out here.
Although the 80-degree weather eventually ended, it gave students a glimpse of what's to come. Summer.
In the summer, I'm excited to go to the beach more. I really want to invest in a pair of rollerblades so I can like go up and down the lakefront. I feel like that'd be really fun.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for this, especially because I'm graduating and you're graduating, so so we're all graduating, and I'm just gonna spend all my time outside at the beach and just vibing.
The sunny weather reminds some students of DePaul's biggest quad event, Fest, the musical festival in May. But for now, they were here to enjoy this amazing weather while it lasts. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Shaden Gomez.
That's all for this week's edition of Good Day DePaul. You can keep up with us by visiting our Vimeo channel at Good Day DePaul or by going to goodday.depaul.edu.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook.
And if you have any news tips, message us through the Good Day DePaul social media channels.
Thanks for watching. I'm Shaden Gomez.
And I'm Stefania Rodriguez. Have a good day, DePaul.